Izzy, I say enthusiastically to my new seatmate, my shy, quiet school seatmate, who has been appointed to sit next to me because I happen to be very talkative. My name's Afreina, I say. Okay. Okay? Who says okay to someone when they introduce themselves? That's not going to deter me from asking her more questions. So I continue on asking her more questions, and Izzy continues responding in monosyllables. Oh, this is like squeezing blood out of a rock. But I persist. Weeks go by, and I start to uncover or discover Izzy more and more. Izzy is an only child, and she lives with her grandparents. Her parents are divorced, and they don't live in the country. Now, this is not something that's very common for us back in Pakistan, but especially not at that time. But this was also something that made us bond even more, because I came from a single-parent family. And in the entire class, we were the only two people who didn't have a mom and dad and a whole family. So while we bonded over this, we also discovered a lot of stuff about us that made us realize that apart from the introversion and extroversion, we were pretty similar people. And of course, we were teenagers, so we had similar crushes and interests, like boys, and music, and fashion, and a mutual dislike for exams. Izzy's place, as our friendship grew, started to become a wonderland for me. I would find myself at her place, and her grandparents would ask her what she wanted for lunch, and Izzy would say, ice cream, and we would actually get ice cream for lunch. That would not fly at my house in 1,000 years. Izzy was also this little Miss Fancy Pants. She had a TV in her room, and she had a phone in her room, which meant we could watch anything whenever we wanted to without like siblings snatching the remote or changing the channel or kicking you out of the room. But we'd also call up our other friends when we were at home, and we'd share the landline with the phone on both of our ears and then fighting for the receiver to speak into it when it was our turn. Eventually, Izzy and I became this duo, and it was common that if you invited one, you had to invite the other. We were thick as thieves. We'd talk on the phone every single day. When I'd come home from school, the phone would ring, and before I even picked it up, I knew it was Izzy. When it was just Izzy and me, though, it was Izzy who did most of the talking. Through high school and middle school, we stayed close friends. Soon, it was time for undergrad. Izzy moved to another city, and our everyday talks became texts and emails. And she would come over the summer, so we would get to spend that and some weekends as well. So the distance didn't feel a lot. Occasionally, you'd receive the SOS text, which was check email. And so that meant drop everything and be there for me because I need you. But it also meant find a computer and connect to the internet through dial-up. After undergrad, I had my eyes set on an Ivy League school, and Izzy got engaged to her boyfriend, which I wasn't very happy about, because I thought she deserved much better. And the mistake I made is that I told Izzy so. Well, while we were both in our own spaces, one day Izzy called me up and said she'd been accepted to a great school in London. I was so happy. And so I asked her, what are you going to do about the wedding? And she said, well, that's why I'm calling you, because I'm confused. Either I can go to this program in London, and it will be fully paid, or I get a big fancy wedding with all the bells and whistles that South Asian weddings come with, and then some, and I don't know what to do. But I know what you're going to say. Before you say it, tell me why. Of course, I was going to say go for grad school. So I told her, I was like, look, you love London. You've always wanted to live there. Go, you're going to have a ball of a time. We're both going to be in grad school. It's just that I'll be in America, you'll be in UK, and we'll be able to, fly over to each other. This will be awesome, and your life is going to change. in my heart of hearts, which now I was smart enough not to tell her, was that I thought it would really change her mind about this guy, and 2 years later, she probably wouldn't marry him. Izzy, being Izzy, decided to stay in Pakistan and go ahead with a marriage. So I went off to my dream school, and Izzy had her dream wedding, which very unfortunately, I couldn't attend. And years later, she wasn't able to attend my wedding either. As we didn't know it at this point, but these decisions changed our lives drastically. Not only were we in different time zones and countries, but the emails and texts also started to thin out because we were just at very different places in our lives. Years later, I caught up with her in Pakistan again, and we had a great heart-to-heart about the problems in our marriages. They were very, very similar. I ended the conversation having clarity that when I came back to Canada, I would separate from my now ex-husband. Izzy said that wasn't something she could do because now she had children to think about as well. And so once again, we went on our very, very different paths. The thing about relationships is that you think that you'll always be able to pick up the pieces from where you left off. But when the distance grows bigger than days and weeks and months to years, sometimes and eventually that trust fades away. Thank you.